First of all, let's understand the role of the rent control department.
Okay, thank you very much. As a department, we basically dwell on laws to do our work. What I mean is that we act on the Act 220, which is the Rent Act, to administer its functions. The first on the list is what we call an assessment. That assessment is where the officer will go into the premises and ascertain how much, we call it recoverable rent, how much rent the tenants must pay. But this must come on an application. The application can come from a landlord or a tenant or anybody interested in the property. So when the application is made to the department, the officer will then go and ascertain how much recoverable rent, as we call it. It's just the amount the tenant pays, how much he has to pay. And the very few clarification. What goes into the assessment, key is the value of the land on which the property is. Second on the list, as far as our function is concerned, is that we are also mandated to make sure that tenants, landlords, or anybody interested in any property abide by our rules and regulations. So when you are reported to us, our duty is to investigate whatever allegation has been put on you. And if it goes contrary to the act, we then process you before the magistrate. We don't have power to impose any punishment or fine on you. We also have right to do what we call an abscondant process. An abscondant in our law is somebody who has rented somebody's property. The time has reached or the time has not reached, and the person has run away, basically. So when it comes to that, you, the landlord, has no right to force and break into the property or the premises and then just pack the things out. When you do that and the tenant comes and they say, no, I've lost my good, it will rely on you to pay.
But in this case that I've been asking the tenant to move out for a very long time, you're not paying your rent for, say, 3 to 4 months. You are in the room. I've come to report to rent control. Rent control has served this individual a letter or has come there to inspect. And maybe I can't even go to the extent of threatening him or her with the police. What am I supposed to do as the landlord?
Okay, so the issue is that you cannot take the law into your own hands. There are laid down procedures. And you cannot forcefully eject any tenant from your property. No matter how offensive, no matter how, whatever the person has done, you cannot forcefully. Any offense committed by any tenant, you need to follow the due process. So this abscondant process is what I'm preaching now, that if the person has run away, and you even know that the person has run away, you don't have right to break into the property and pack his things out and recover your possession. What you need to do is to report, either to the magistrate or to the rent control department. We have a form which we will paste in front of the premises for 14 days. After the 14 days, and the person does not appear, what is on the notice is we are inviting the person to our office. That an allegation has been made that he has run away, he or she has run away, and that he is owing so much or something. After the 14 days, if he or she does not appear, we move to the magistrate and ask permission, and the magistrate, as a judge, will give us that order to force and open the place. Okay, so these are the process. And even after that, we give you the belongings to keep safe for another period.
You mean the landlord has
to keep it for a period? Wow. Okay,
you've taken
after
my
that period
to find a storehouse for your belongings.
This is why any business you want to venture into, know the rules and regulations surrounding them.
Wow.
Okay, so that if you go and do something contrary to our laws, the person that is owing you so much, then you put yourself in trouble rather. So these are the laid down procedures. And just as I said, after you keep safe for a period of another 14 days, you ask for an inspection. The inspection, as I said, is on an application. Okay, we can come and then see the deterioration of a property as a tenant. Probably you paid for a rent. You realize that a month or two, the thing has started deteriorating. You can apply for this inspection. We will come and look at it. Based on that, we will determine that no, because of the nature of the property, we will slash the rent down for it to compensate you for the period that you stay in the property until you vacate from the place. So these are some of the functions we perform as a rent control.
All right, so we know all about rentals. I mean, we're all overseas, we're all renting, except Mr. S, who is a rich son of a, you know what, he owns
the one
a
in the
huge
middle.
place.
Yeah.
So we were watching a video about, I think a man, I don't know if he's, is he from Rent Control?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I think he was breaking down the the ins and outs of rental spaces and how much people are supposed to pay and what the landlords must do and mustn't do. But at the end of the day, it goes over a lot of people's heads because people who live in Ghana don't really know all these things, right? And landlords keep taking advantage. So we're gonna break it down here on DLS Wave. All right. So number one, Mr. L, we've all lived in Ghana almost our whole lives. We just moved out. But the thing is, were you in the know? Did you know you had to pay 6 months rent according to the law in Ghana?
Nope.
Because from what I know, I remember I used to rent a house in Sakama, right, Dansoman, and the bare minimum was 2 years. I always had to pay 2 years in rent.
I never had to rent, but I know my siblings were renting, and it was like that. Yeah, 3 years.
So fair to say you come from like a good home.
If you're renting, you're not from a good home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was renting, so I wasn't from a good.
I'm from a good home, but not the kind that has,
Hey, a good home is a good home, man. It's a blessing.
Because you have a home. It's okay.
Yeah, I prefer that one to a JT family.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's if I think of the struggles they used to go through, it's just ridiculous. I've not seen, now that I'm out, I've not heard anybody from any country saying they pay even 1, 2 year, 3 year rent. It's ridiculous. If I could afford that, why wouldn't I just build my own house? So actually, that system is keeping people poorer and making them not able to build or buy their own houses. Because if you're going to pay 50,000 Ghana cedis every 2 years, that 50,000 Ghana cedis could actually go towards building your own house. But if you keep renting, you can't save the money to build your own house. So we're going to keep having the same problem. But that's why the landlords are taking advantage, because people can't build their own houses.
So is it on the landlord or it's on government?
If the law doesn't work, the landlords will do whatever they want. Yeah, they'll do whatever they want.
Checks and balances, baby. Yeah. Checks and balances. Checks and balances.
Checks and balances, baby.
Yeah, I mean, if people are left to their own whims, right, we'll do whatever we want. It's human nature, right? Everybody want to make money. But the point is, at the end of the day, we're going to go back to systems, right? Our systems are not, are they even non-existent? I mean, when we say our system, what systems do we have? Because honestly, how many Ghanaians know this? How many Ghanaians know you should not or you're not supposed to pay more than 6 months of rent? Because as far as I can remember, it was just like beginning of this year, my in-law had to pay 2 years of rent. Right? And you know the crazy part? These apartments are not even like furnished.
Yeah.
They're like empty four walls. And the crazy part, you go to the landlord, ask them to come fix the problem, it takes forever.
China's for you.
It's not but China. We're talking about the law. It's like there are laws that are supposed to be in effect. And what are laws supposed to do? Protect the locals, protect the citizens. So if the law is not working, it's the ordinary person that suffers. Because at the end, don't forget, the people at the top, they're not even paying rent. The country is taking care of them.
Yeah.
So is that the reason why they do not care about enforcing the law?
It's part because if you've experienced it, I don't think if you've experienced it and you get the position, you wouldn't want it to happen to another, right? So I think they are so detached. Our politicians and our citizens, there's a gap, right? And sometimes when you speak, and that is why this particular problem has been there for centuries. Because people keep yelling, but nobody is listening. You understand? I mean, how much do you get paid to look at our minimum wage alone? How much are you going to save to gather that money and go and pay for like 2 years? It doesn't work. Even advanced countries don't even do that. China here, we know what their rent these things regulations are. You understand? You pay deposit 1 month or 2 months. Every 2 months you pay, or every 1 month, depending on the landlord. But you don't go above a certain
3 months. No,
3 months
above
is
3 months.
Above it's impossible. The moment the person tries to push it, you pick a phone. There is a line that you will call.
It's a hotline. Yep.
A hotline that you will call, and they will come to your aid. And I always find it very difficult to talk about these things because all the time it feels like we are complaining, right? But why shouldn't we? Because people are being paid with our taxpayers' money to make sure that we live a comfortable life in the country that we are working for to develop. So, yes, people keep complaining. Rent, land. When was the last time you saw a rent control person in your home?
No, I just heard what you said, and it's very interesting that you're saying it sounds like we always complain because it affects us directly. Because our family members keep asking us monies for rent, and we end up paying for these rents because they're nowhere near, being able or having the capability to pay these rents.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, look at our nurses. 10 months, no salaries. How do you pay your rent? We never been paid for 10 months. It makes no sense. You're a graduate, you finish school, okay, you move to Accra, a big city, you want to rent a small place, look for a job, start life. How can you pay for a year or 2 years rent in advance?
And another problem is, we are in China, so we can speak about China. There are certain documents, if you're a tenant, whether you're a foreigner or Chinese, you want to get, you have to go to an office with the landlord and all his documents to get you that specific document for certain things. So if the landlord doesn't have the building registered, he can rent it out. You can't rent it because the tenants, if they need something, you can't provide it. And we've all seen cases where foreigners in China want to send their kids to school, or even locals. The landlord has to give a certain document, and if the landlord doesn't pay his dues and register with the appropriate authorities, he can't get you that document. And sometimes they try to avoid it, and people actually take them they sue them and all that. If you look at the case of Ghana, anyone builds a house, I can build my own house and give it out to rent. I don't have to go and register with anybody. So there is no authority that is aware that your house, you're using it for rental. So even if I have a problem, I can't go and complain to anyone because they are not even aware that I'm renting this person's house. But I think it should be such that if you have a house and you're living in it by yourself, that's fine. But if you want to rent it out, it now becomes public, and so the government law must take course.
Oh, yes.
And in doing so, for example, like we're saying, people don't even know the law. How do we get to know the law? There's a simple way we can do it. This same rent control office can have those small, like those pamphlets, Good News Bible style of thing. Yes, code of conduct for tenants or whatever.
Today it's
2025.
2025, everything is online.
It can even be online.
Right? There has to be an official government website that people can go, and also there has to be a hotline. So, we're going to go down the laws of the country. Rent Act 1963, Act 220. Now, it says, the rent's aim is to protect tenants by limiting advance rent payment to a maximum of 6 months and preventing arbitrary rent increases. So, 1, advance rent limit, 6 months. We know that, right? Now, regulated rent increase. Landlords must obtain approval from the rent control department before increasing rent. Otherwise, it's illegal. I've never seen this in my life ever.
You haven't installed an AC?
Because they increase rent here indiscriminately just because it's my place.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in this case, if you're an ordinary citizen, what do? This is the landlord. This is his place. He said, this is my rent for the next 6 months. What do?
Nothing you can do about it as it stands. Because if you make noise, he's going to kick you out. You have no protection. He will kick you out
before you start making noise.
Yeah,
the moment you go to him and complain, or the moment he tells you, I am coming to increase the rent, next month you have to pay me extra. Just last month, my son called me and he was saying the same thing. Where he's renting, the lady was like, it's no more for 400 or whatever, I've forgotten the amount, but added 100 or 200 Ghana more. If you can't, then you can go. And before he went in, there was nothing in there. He has to do the painting and and all that. Leo, you talked about pamphlet, right? Anytime you go to the Chinese immigration office to register or do something, they have these books there. Yeah. Public Security Comprehensive Window Convenience Book, Handbook. And in Chinese, you guys cannot read though, but like things in there, sanitation, rent control, everything, like anything about the country.
Yeah, because the people need to know what their rights are. They need to know what they're entitled to. They need to know what they can complain about and what is really, the law that you cannot complain about. You can be, okay, this is it. I know it is. You cannot fuss about, right?
Yeah.
Next, it says right to receive. Tenants need to have receipts from their landlord every time they pay rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that is the only proof that you paid rent. Otherwise, it's your word against the landlord. Does any landlord give out a receipt? Here we
there are videos online where people say, "Oh, I sent the landlord some money, and now I've decided not to rent anymore, and that he's refusing to give me back the money," and a whole lot of stories.
Because there are no signed contracts, so you can't hold him to anything.
Exactly.
And I don't know if it's the same everywhere in China, but at least in Shanghai, when you rent anywhere, The form that the agent gives you, where you've signed with the landlord, is the exact same form everywhere you go. It's a standard.
Yes,
So wherever you go, they want a proof of your rent. You pull that thing out, immediately they recognize it because that's what everybody uses. So it's very clearly laid out. You need to fill this form. You need to sign. The landlord needs to sign. Whenever there is some sort of a conflict, you pull that thing out. That's the final document that is going to be used. There is no single thing like that. So this receipt you're even talking about, if the landlord handwrites it, he can come and say it's not his. But here, the agent has his stamp on it, and it's a standard form. You can't conjure it. You can't fake it. So it's just that people are just not doing their work. Rent control. They come and sit on TV and they're talking. But how many landlords have they even registered? There's no. Oh man, it's just so difficult to talk
So
about these things.
one actually doing the interview, he's supposed to ask those questions. Because there's so many unanswered questions in Ghana.
No, he's scared his landlord will kick him out that night.
Yeah. Sometimes, you can only shake your head because these are very simple stuff, right?
Yeah, because also we did not think about it deep enough. We have like we always brag about the youngest population on earth as a continent, right? Africa. Ghana, the same thing. We have like, very, very young people. And there was actually a video that I saw. There was this guy who was talking to the camera, talking about how the nurses are not being paid. And he was saying the same thing. He was a very young guy. It's like, we actually even sleep outdoor. They sleep outside in the streets. Right? It's like, and it's so kind of like heartbreaking to see that, like he was saying the same. It was like, he said something like, Asante Mimba or something like that, right? And I made that one thing. Like, like literally, like, this is your native land. This is your home.
Yeah.
How do you sleep outside in your own country, in your own home?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like terrible when you think about it. It's like nobody cares at all.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have all these graduates coming out of school. How can they be okay? How can they even have the mindset to kind of like, innovate and do the things that they were taught in school? Because all these things are pulling you in 30 different directions, right?
Yeah.
Rent, transportation, what are you going to eat? How am I going to pay 2 years of rent, as a graduate? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even when you rent it, it's even empty. Now you got to go buy furniture. You got to buy it. It's like, it's so crazy. It's like, how does one make it? No, because they're telling us to kind of like, stay back in our countries and, help develop the country. But how do you stay in a country like this? How do you stay? How do you survive?
I was watching a YouTuber in Canada who went to rent, and the law is if you have to rent, the landlord has to know what job you're doing.
Yes.
Are you capable of, if you say you want to stay there for 2 years, with the income you're making, are you capable of paying? So there are laws to protect the tenant and the landlord.
And actually, you don't pay direct. They take it from your salary.
Exactly. And then they forward it to the landlord or whatever. So you always have, so if there's a problem, you report, they withhold the money until the landlord fixes it.
Yep.
It's not the same everywhere, but every country has something that they try to follow.
It protects you, the ordinary person.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? You, the ordinary person.
Yeah.
So again, it just comes back to like, Uncle Steve said, it's like we always complain, but it's like, how do you not complain? Because even though you live here, let's say, you're comfortable, but then it's like every single day you're getting calls. Every single day you're getting calls from home, right? Everybody wants money to pay for something. And it's like a cycle. Because I remember we were the same thing growing up.
Yeah.
I used to call my sister a lot. I need to do this. My rent is up. My electricity bill is... And we're going through the same thing. It's like a cycle, never breaks.
Yeah.
That is the country. The country is built on a bicycle. So you keep going in circles.
But the point is almost because every administration that comes in say they're going to try and make things better. But it's like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Listen, the answer is very, very simple. It's in the pudding right there. We have, and again, I'm repeating myself, until we start to learn that we, the citizens, come first over any political party and attack issues directly. Where is the office of the rent department? This is where we are going. When we are doing demo, and it's for sanitation, we go to the AMA people before we go to do like a 2-3 day demo, then the government will realize, nah, we need to tackle this issue. And people that have been in, they've been in those positions, right? Look at the man, the video, look at the hat he's wearing. I have one here. When you are in your, you start to think a lot. That is when you start to put on that kind of hat, right? That man maybe has been in that position for 40 years. Ask him, when was the last time he walked into somebody's house and checked the rent, people that are renting, how much they pay per month and a year. We all understand. You cannot say, okay, because I'm living in Laboni and I'm living in Chado, the rent should be the same. It shouldn't. Right? It shouldn't, because the way everything,
the value is different everywhere. Yeah,
the value. So that one we get it, but it doesn't give you the and just get up and say, okay, I have a 2-bedroom and I don't care. I'm charging you $1,002 a month or $600 a month. And what kills me is sometimes they mention the figures in dollars too. When did we start talking dollars?
You see some shack somewhere is telling you $500 a month. You look at
now
it.
the point is, even if you have like, you have a problem or like a quarrel with your landlord, it's like you even try to call them and nobody picks up. All these offices, when I go to Ghana, you call them,
when you even listen to the interview, he's telling you should go and report to who?
Yeah, as if he's saying it confidently, as if when you report something is going to change. Nothing is going to change.
Your landlord has started taking your things from your room, or has brought another tenant sitting by the door waiting for you to get out, and you are telling me to go and report to who?
You see, that's the thing I was talking about, like the booklet you showed, right?
Yeah.
If there is a document that the Lands Commission can circulate so everybody can download it like a PDF, then they put a warning on TV and say, this is a law. Landlords read it. If you're going to rent, you read it. You're all on the same page. Then there will not be that conflict because everybody knows where they stand.
Because coming up with policies and all that is different from enforcing the law.
The conflicts are there
because there was a presidential, I think, newsletter, whatever you might call it, that nothing in Ghana should be charged in the US dollars. Has it stopped? Businesses should not pay in US dollars. Has it stopped? It's the same thing. Even when it comes out of the office of the president, still it goes back to the same thing.
Leo,
it's like you don't enforce. You want people to be like, okay, yes, I'm boss. We're not gonna do it anymore. But it doesn't work like that. You go to hotels in Ghana. It still gets, some of them still charging USD.
Look, even if
this booklet is not gonna amount to anything.
If they do print this booklets, right? At the end of the day, where are you going to report? Because
but that's what I'm saying.
Something
just
happens
knowing
right now.
is not.
I know. I sit on my bike or sit in my car. I go to the nearest. It's just 2 minutes. Actually, before it was in front of this community, but it's just now 5 minutes away from me here. Right? There are what I call mini police stations where usually they are like the traffic police, but you can quickly go there and report something, and then they will lead you. Right? So yes, we can have the booklet, but the structures or the place, the line, the hotline that you can call, the
booklet will be useless.
The offices
Absolutely
that you
useless.
can go, then if
it will be useless. Let me give you the clear process here that we go to. Right, there's a hotline 1 2 3 4 5. If you watch it and you want to check up on it, check 1 2 3 4 5. If you have anybody, can call this hotline. So it's not a direct number to the department, right? But they will take your complaints, right, and call the legitimate of the right department and speak to them on your behalf, and then they will call you back and relay the information. If there's any action you need to take, they will tell you, and they will literally ask you where do you live, so they will show you the closest office of that department to your home. So it's more convenient for you.
Yes,
you don't need to travel to a different locations. Like there's one next to you, go here, tell them this and this, fill out a form. They actually help you through the process. So this, you don't need to have a booklet to know this, right? There's a hotline that is actually helping you do that.
The reason I was talking about the documentation, not necessarily the booklet, is if you take your rent here, on the back or something, there are the rules clearly indicated there. So the landlords are aware, you, the tenant, are aware. So even the landlord is afraid to flout the rules because he knows them and he knows that the tenant also knows them.
But the question is, why is he afraid to flout it?
Because he's aware of them.
of the
in
consequences.
Ghana, the citizens don't know, and the landlords who maybe know, they know that the citizens don't know, so they are taking advantage of them.
But if the citizen knows, if the tenant knows, the landlord knows, what happens?
No,
the
but
point, if you go complain, that is where the problem is. If you make a complaint to the right authorities, right, what do they do about it?
It should be a whole package. First, the stakeholders have to be aware, yes, and then the offices should also take action when people report. So I know that if I report my landlord, he's going to throw me out or he's going to be angry with me all the time.
But he shouldn't be able to if the right authority takes control of the situation. He should not be able to do that.
But personally, if I have a problem with my landlord, I want to move out because I know from now on he's going to give me a third eye, right? But I'll punish him before I leave. That is if the authorities will actually do their work. Because this was the form, we all filled it, we all know the laws. You still decided to go against it. So I report you get punished, and I move out of the house. If that keeps happening,
that is your prerogative, right? You can decide to move out or stay.
Exactly.
No, if you stay, he's still got nothing to do. He can't do anything. He cannot raise the rent. He can't do anything.
No. Let me add
something breaks. You tell him he's got to fix it.
That discomfort that guy is going to give you.
But
he can't. What is he going to do? He can't. What is he going to do?
Even here, if they realize the case is too big for the what do you call it, the rent control, they have a court that they go. So they just tell you guys, they arrange you to court within 1 hour. Your situation is solved. You need to pay back the money. Do this. Finish. Go. Right? We don't have a system like that.
We are using our courts.
Sorry. We do have the system, but the system is not working.
We're using our courts to jail people who have stolen goods. You're talking about rent. It's a whole systemic breakdown, Massa.
What is it breakdown? Was it working before and it's broken down or it never worked?
It was working before, to be honest. Really? If you look at after independence, things were working well. But
probably talking about some industries and stuff like that.
Like during military rule, those times, if you were taken to my dad used to call it magistrate. They didn't even call it a judge. Even the magistrate, he gives you a sentence, you are done.
All right, so guys, it's us again, like Mr. S is going to say something, we're always complaining, but we do complain because it's got a direct, direct impact on us because it's not fun when it's like almost every time you receive a call from Ghana, you hesitate to pick it up because it's going to be about money. And you can't really blame, you can't blame who's calling.
Then there's
you can't blame who's calling because if they could handle themselves, they would have, but they just can't.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're not gonna sit and act like our lives are so good, but it was like we did the same thing. We used to call our families abroad just to ask them for funds to support us. So it's the same cycle. So the question is, when do we break this cycle? When can people be so not super wealthy or whatnot, but be able to afford things and live just standard normal lives? That's my thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you have any comments, leave it in the comment section as usual. Tell us your experiences with paying rent in Ghana, paying rent overseas. So what's the difference? What's the disparity right there? So we see you on the next episode. DLS out.
Peace.